Welcome to Kankakee Podcast, where we talk about the people and places of Kankakee County. I'm Jake LaMore, and if you're listening to this episode before this Saturday, December 14th, there is something, there's many things happening in downtown Kankakee for Christmas, particularly this Saturday. One of those big things is the first ever Winter Wonderland Pub Crawl here in downtown Kankakee, and it's being spearheaded actually by the Majestic, pretty much. We have Marci and Felicity here from the Majestic, so welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And we're in the Majestic right now. If you haven't listened to, or actually no, I guess this is our first episode being released that is being recorded here in the Majestic. So we're up on the second floor of the building now. So it's really cool. Like I've always, as a young kid, I've always been fascinated with this building. So I was really excited when we moved in here just because of the history of this building. So it's so cool to be here. So,
we love the building as well. And it's just so much fun. And seeing the evolution over the last year and a half of what we're doing with the building and everybody that's coming in, there's a lot more energy and excitement going on, which is, again, one of the reasons why we're doing the Winter Wonderland Pub Crawl.
When I was looking at the list of the bars and restaurants that are participating, I was like, wow. There's actually more downtown than I realized when it comes to establishments for drinking and eating, so I was like, that's pretty cool. It's like when you lay it all out on a list, you're like, oh, wow. There's more here than I realized.
There is a lot. And, right off the bat, what I want to do is give Felicity credit for really spearheading this and driving this forward. She has been working with all of the businesses downtown and really helping to bring this event to life. So thank you.
Yay, Felicity,
for all the work that you've done for this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been so much fun. This is obviously my first time doing it,
right?
But it has been loads of fun. It's crazy to think that this is my job. It doesn't feel like
Was
work.
this your idea that you came up with?
No. So
okay.
Marci came to me with the idea originally, but we just kind of piggybacked off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marci would agree. We work pretty well together.
Mm-hmm.
We think pretty similarly. So we figured, we'd be a good duo to get it done. So,
yeah. So where does it start? And how does this pub crawl work? Because I know if someone has never done a pub crawl, they all kind of work a little differently.
They do. So essentially, it's about getting people together and having a good time. At the same time, visiting and, introducing people to the businesses downtown that they may not know about. And we'll talk about those in a little bit because there are a lot of new businesses that have opened up within the last couple of months. And we're very excited about that. But essentially, the pub crawl is December 14th. You are starting here at the Majestic building to get registered. So it is $25 to get registered, but that $25 includes your T-shirt for the event. So a special T-shirt for the event. It includes a mimosa to get started early in the morning. It also includes, and we'll talk about this at the end as well, tickets to the Katzpa Jammas later that evening. And then we have several really cool raffle prizes that a lot of the local businesses have donated. And some of those businesses aren't even part of the pub crawl, but they're downtown. And we're super excited and grateful to all those businesses. So what you'll do is you'll get started here. If you can, please order your tickets ahead of time. That helps us up for planning purposes. Right now, there's like almost 600 people interested in coming, and we've got quite a few tickets sold, but we need a lot more tickets sold so we can make sure we got T-shirts for everybody. But registration's going to be between 10:30 and noon, and we may extend that to 1 o'clock just in case people don't want to come out that early. So you'll register here at the Majestic building. Within the Majestic building, we will have Flanagan's down in the basement. That's our Irish pub in the basement for those of you that don't know about it. We've got the wine bar. So Lush Vine, we're excited to have them. Beautiful space. Again, if you haven't had a chance to go in there, please, even if you're not getting a drink, stop in, take a look around. And then from there, we'll have a map of all the other businesses within a couple block radius to be able to go ahead and visit. And again, we'll talk about more of those in a few minutes.
Yeah. Is there a certain order or can you jump around?
Great.
How does that?
Yeah, no, great question. You can definitely jump around. And, part of the pub crawl is you need to stop in at each of the businesses because there will be a little candy cane with a raffle ticket. And that raffle ticket is what helps you to, enter into the raffles for the prizes later. So you need to pick up those candy canes with each of those raffle tickets.
Okay. So that's really the whole purpose is you need to visit each one in order to get those raffle tickets. So don't skip any.
Correct.
If you want to go all out on this, you're paying money for it. You may as well.
Yes.
Right?
And you have to get it from the bartender. So you can't just walk in and grab it and walk right back out.
Okay. Nice. I like how you tied that together. Yeah. So what are the prizes then?
So right off the bat, we're going to keep a couple of them a surprise just for the thrill of it. But a really big one off the top of my head, Johnny's Pizza made a very generous donation of a few certificates. And they're pretty larger amounts. So you can get pizza for the family, pizza for your group if you're crawling that day and you're hungry at the end of the night after the super fun after party.
Yeah.
Run over to Johnny's Pizza and grab some of that. So they're running a special during that day too. So we'll hopefully hear more about that from them soon. But that's a big one off the top of my head. They made a very generous donation.
I love that. Now, I might have to have them for lunch today.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good, honestly.
I went in there last night to pick it up, and the smells alone, I was like, oh man, here's my dinner plans.
Yes. Our old office was like just a few doors down from them. And every time I would park and I'd walk into the office, I could smell the pizza, and I was just like, man, this is gonna kill me.
Yeah, dangerous.
It's one of the few places you can walk into and just get a slice of pizza. So that's what I love about Johnny's.
Exactly.
So then what are some of the other businesses a part of the crawl then here in downtown Kankakee?
So some of the other raffles too from some of the businesses, Stafari Cafe is going to be donating some gift certificates for it. The Majestic has some events. Winter Song is also donating some tickets for the event. And, as Felicity said, we're keeping some of these a surprise because there's some big gifts that we're pretty excited about. But I'll let Felicity really talk about the businesses because she's been working with all of them to really get it up and going.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And like I said before, a big focus of mine when Marci came to me and asked if I would be willing to spearhead it was something that made me really excited was just the fact of getting people into the businesses. So a lot of the businesses like No Dogs or Out on a Limb or, those staple bars in the town, City Tavern, people like that have been around for a long time.
Decades.
But then, exactly. Bringing people back in there, but also getting people into the newer bars. So Splitting Targets, Stafari, Cork, the Venue Lounge is over there too. All of these spots are super, super cool. And it was actually really cool for me because there were a couple spots that I haven't been to myself.
I haven't been to the Venue yet.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to checking that out.
So cool. Yeah. That's a big one. That was one of my first bars that I went into to see if they'd be willing to participate. And I was blown away when I went in there. It looks, it's so small from the outside and you wouldn't even expect it to be what it is on the inside. They've done an amazing job over there. So,
from the pictures I've seen, that's what I've expected.
It's so cool. So it's super exciting to get people in to the building to experience exactly that. Wow, like I can't believe we have this in the community. And hopefully get people to come back.
And then we also have 815, which is just around the corner here. If people haven't been there, we've got the Tiny Tap, again, another staple. It's under new ownership now. So, getting people excited to go over there on West Ave.
Yeah, I heard as Elizabeth Dunbar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So good for her.
Yes.
Good for her.
And that's another one that's just cozy when you go in there.
Yes, it's called Tiny Tap for a reason, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you just feel like it's like that cozy hometown bar.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What I'm curious is because this is going on, it's not going on till 2:00, right? Does it go beyond that or no?
It does go beyond that. Great question. So a couple of other things. On that day in downtown Kankakee, we will be having a vendor fair at the Majestic building that will also be overlapping with people registering. So there'll be a lot of people here, a lot of other things to do in case there's a line for registration, looking around with a lot of the vendors that are here. There will be a vendor fair at the library that's also happening. And then there is the Mistletoe Market, which is brand new this year in downtown Kankakee. That'll be over by Depot Square. So as people are walking around, it's not just going to be going from bar to bar. There's other events that are happening downtown Kankakee. The parade is that evening, starting at 4 or 4:30. Apologize, don't know the exact time of the parade.
I believe it's right around that time.
Yep. And then after the parade, we're super excited because we have the Katzpa Jammas here at the Majestic as well. So your pub crawl entry gets you into that event free. If you're not able to make the pub crawl, it's $10. We want to make it affordable. There will also be Martina's Tacos here that evening at the Katzpa Jammas event. So if you're hungry, we've got Martina's here. Amanda and the group does a fantastic job. So we're excited for that. And, it's an all ages show. So you don't have to be 21 to attend the show. Of course, if you're buying beverages, you will be carded. But no, we're super excited about that as well.
That's a great way to end the night. So,
yes.
Yeah. And we will have an interview with Katzpa Jammas after this, just so you know. So please keep listening for that, because we had a great time yesterday when we recorded that. So I'm excited for people to hear that. What else do people need to know about the pub crawl?
Well, first of all, be safe. If you are drinking, make sure you have somebody that's going to drive you home, or get a cab, an Uber, whatever we can around town. So be safe. But, come and enjoy. There is one other small twist to it. If you dress up in your best holiday gear, we are going to be awarding a prize as well to the best dressed holiday person that day.
Oh, okay. Yep. And of course, keeping fingers crossed that it's not like too cold,
right.
On this afternoon or morning, afternoon, evening, all the above, the whole day, that hopefully it's not too cold.
No.
And people can can they go to the Majestic's website to get tickets, or where exactly do they get tickets?
They can definitely go to the website. There is a QR code on there. You can also go to our Facebook page. We've sent out several links to a lot of the groups around town as well. So I think if you just Google Winter Wonderland Pub Crawl, that should be able to come up, or put it into Facebook. There's Facebook events, Eventbrite events. So hopefully people can find it that way. And the same thing with the Katzpa Jammas tickets. Again, if you're not able to make the pub crawl and just that, you can pre-buy your tickets as well.
Okay, cool.
And if we have any issues finding that, just message us on Facebook. Yep. We'll lead you in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be a link in the show notes of this episode too. People can click on for that. Felicity or Marci, have anything to add?
No, just we're very, very excited. There's a lot of wonderful things happening in downtown Kankakee. So if you haven't been down here, please come check out all the new, not just the bars and everything, but there's a lot of great businesses that are down here. So please come downtown and check it out.
Actually, now that I bring that up, there's a few more things that I can think of. One being, do you know some of the vendors that are going to be at, like, even if it's just the ones at the Majestic, do you know any of the vendors that are going to be there by chance?
So if a lot of people would visit the farmers market, a lot of the farmers market vendors are the vendors that are going to be present at the Majestic and then at the library as well.
So they can get their farmers market fix in this cold weather.
Yes.
Because I know that's what you hear around town this time of year, is like, oh, I miss the farmers market,
Yeah.
So they can kind of visit some of those vendors.
Well, and then in the Majestic building itself, we do have Envy Clothing Boutique. Yes. We have Just Peachy. We have the new selfie booths that are in here, which is really cool. So if you haven't seen that yet, come and check it out. And
I'm always peering in there when I walk by, and I'm just like, what's it going to look like today?
Yeah. It's so cool. It's always different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they will be open the day of the event, so definitely stop in there and take some selfies with your group and have fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
And, thank you for putting this on, and good luck with your first year of doing this. And hopefully there'll be a second year.
Thank you. We're excited. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Our guests today are from a Kankakee area alternative rock band. And if you're listening to this episode before this Saturday, December 14th, you'll have a chance to see them live at the Majestic on Schuyler Avenue in downtown Kankakee. It's part of their first annual Winter Wonderland Pub Crawl. They're going to end the night here at the Majestic. I'm pleased to welcome Katzpa Jammas to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Jake.
No, thanks for being, and you too, Jake. I'm not the only Jake in the room. So I love when there's another Jake in the room because it makes me feel like I'm not alone. So
that's good.
So I guess first and foremost, let's go around and introduce everyone so everyone knows what you sound like in case they're not watching the video version of this.
All right.
Because it seems like most of our listeners listen instead of watching. So we start with Kaylee.
Hi, I'm Kaylee. Nice to meet you guys.
Hello. Hi. My name is Jake, and yeah.
You can say what you do in the band.
I sing in the band. I'm Kaylee. I'm a singer in the band.
I'm the drummer. I play the drums in the band.
Hello, I'm Riley. I play synthesizer and keyboard.
Hey, what's up? I'm Bert. I play bass.
Hi, I'm Neil. I play guitar.
All right. Now, Bert, you like to go by Bert instead of Burton? Or do you, because you introduced yourself to me as Burton, so that's why I wasn't sure.
Well, I mean, really when it comes down to it, I do like Burton.
Okay.
I've always enjoyed my full name.
What do you guys call him?
Bert.
You call him Bert?
Everybody calls me
Bert.
Bert.
What do you call him?
I call him Birdie Boy.
Yeah. I'm the man of many names, some would say.
Well, and I would say all of you here, I would say, have shown your face in many other projects, music projects here in the Kankakee area scene. So some people that have either seen you play or seen pictures of you, or they're watching this video right now and they're like, gosh darn, Neil looks so familiar. Where have I seen him play before? Or, or even Bert or, any of you. I mean, we could probably go off the list of all the other projects, if current or past,
You actually want us to, we don't have to do that. Well, I'll say that a lot of people think my name is Huel because that's my Facebook name.
Yeah. Yes. That was one thing I was going to bring up is you are Huel.
That's me.
Where does Huel come from?
It comes from a show. There's a character named Huel in a show called Breaking Bad.
Huel.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that.
That guy.
Well, there you go. That's the secret.
Well,
I let it out.
I feel dumb now because my wife and we just finished watching that. I finished watching it for the first time. She had seen the series before, but I'd never seen it. But I completely forgot about, there's being someone named Huel. So.
Yeah. Scary show.
A
Scary
little
show.
bit, honestly, scary. Yeah. I had actually this is going to sound so bad. When we first started watching it, I actually did have some nightmares.
Yes. Gosh, about meth or
no, just the, I guess because I feel like the murders that take place in there are just they're so gruesome.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
I had nightmares about that. Not so much about the meth.
No shame in that.
Well, that's good.
A lot of killing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad there's no shame in that. But yeah, no, it was more or less that. Not Breaking Bad's not a horror series, but I guess one could argue it is kind of
stresses me
horrific.
out.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. Kaylee,
Certainly.
you were going to say something?
Nope,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think so.
She's just ready at will.
Yeah, when I hold the microphone, I try and have it.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of like that too.
But I guess to
I'm
get
just
back to
aware
the
of
point, you are in Simpsons
Yes.
as well.
Me and Jake are in Simpsons.
That's
Yep.
right. Jake is too. So see, there you go. And I know Bert has been in all kinds of other projects as well. So
I was in Cold Room Theory and UCK, both for multiple years up and around. I was in a group called Men of Ages. I was in a group called The Eventful Days. And currently I'm also in a band called Soft Step from Watsika, Iroquois County. It's kind of like a shoegaze band.
okay, I just heard of you guys thanks to James, who also works here at Kankakee Podcast and Pathfinder. So you guys have a show coming up as well.
Yeah.
I think actually after this episode's going to be released, but I'm sure you'll be playing again. But it's good to know.
We're going to be playing on December 15th with one of Neil's other bands.
So this will
Architect.
actually be out before then. So that's perfect. So after you watch Katzpa Jammas on the 14th, you can go see Soft Step on the 15th. How about you, Riley?
Okay.
Both mics to Riley.
Okay. Well, Katzpa Jammas is like my first real band, I guess.
Cool.
And I knew keyboards before, but I really got into synthesis and playing keyboards for Katzpa Jammas 2 years ago because Jake let me borrow his synth. But that kind of inspired me to do more stuff on my own time. And so I do have a solo project called XOX Girl that is like 2 years old too. And I've been doing live shows. But yeah, I'm not in any other bands right now, but I have been learning bass too. But
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
I do a lot of crap.
Sweet. Awesome. And how about
Shout
you,
out
Kaylee?
for bass.
Skip right over Jake.
Oh, that's right. Jake, we did talk about you're in The Simpsons as well, but I know you're in other bands. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip.
no,
Here I am
it's funny.
skipping someone
You're
with
good,
the same
you're
name as
good.
me.
Yeah, it's basically Katzpa and Simpsons are like the main two consistent things, and I'm currently working on my own stuff as well right now. And I mean, it's not really happening anymore, but you mentioned like past stuff. Me and Kaylee did a thing called Birdland very briefly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was so fun. And other high school bands that didn't last, but
That tends to happen.
yeah. It's all good though,
Yeah.
I guess it's for the best. But,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically all my stuff.
Yeah. I'm just the singer in the Katzpa Jammas, pretty much. I mean, I did stuff like high school stuff, but like that was just like extracurricular stuff. Oh, too many saying that word.
Whoa.
So, and then we did Birdland, which was a jazz like cover band, which was fun, but didn't last. Trying to think. I think that's it though. That's all I can really say.
Okay. So how did you guys end up coming together then? Was it just a matter of like when you were in other bands, you were playing shows together or?
Good question.
So 4 of us went to the same high school. So
Which high school?
the Herscher High School.
Okay.
Of
All right,
Herscher,
represent
Illinois.
Herscher.
So me, Jake, and Riley met in high school, and then, yep.
I think I met Jake in a dirty alley.
Yeah, he was like punching me in the face.
Was it the one right back here behind the
Yes,
Majestic?
yeah. And then after that, we ran into Southside Social Club that night. Yeah,
Yes.
and then that's how I met those guys.
We always run
Wow.
into them in that alley. But
So the 3 of you or the 4 of you went to Herscher together?
All 4 of us went to Herscher together,
Okay.
but we didn't like.
But
like,
Neil
Bert,
did not.
Bert was like older than us, so we didn't like
Okay.
actually see each other in high school.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
The rest of us, Riley's the youngest, Jake's the oldest.
yeah.
Okay.
So we were all like actually in high school. We were in all the extracurriculars together, like marching band and show choir and all that stuff.
But to add to that, fun fact, I didn't even like know this, but I would have played drums for the show choir, which that's what y'all were in. And one time Bert came back one year to play bass or something, and I was like a sophomore, I think.
Okay.
So like I played with Bert, not knowing that it was actually Bert, basically. So
Wow.
That was, like, a
like
weird-
you figured it out like some
like
years
way
later.
yeah.
You're
And
like,
I was like, oh, that was you with
that
the other
was-
guy. Like, wow.
That was you? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was it? So I had my best friend back in high school, Hayden Butler. He got hired on back with the show choir and music group for doing like the backline drums. He also was the drum instructor for a while
Okay.
over at Kankakee. I can't remember for how long he ended up doing it, but when he was doing that, the music teacher had offered to hire me back on because they were looking for somebody to play bass. And
Wow.
then I went in there, and
Yeah.
I do remember Jake from that time. I really do.
That's
I thought
awesome.
back on it a lot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember, when I was going to school in Mantino, the show choir director was always like trying to recruit people to play in the combo.
Oh,
You know, he was and it seemed to always be a struggle. So that doesn't really surprise me that they're like, well, we can't find any, student to play, so let's hire Bert and have him play bass.
I remember one year, it was my senior year, I was playing bass with them, and I can't remember what song we were playing. It was one of the ones in the show choir, but they were like, that bass player is way too hot. And everybody was like, what does that mean? But they were saying like he's just too loud.
Yes, that meant yes. So
it's like everybody was like, Burton, you're really good at bass. And I'm like, I just started playing bass. But I'm sure like myself, I say that all the time. As for an audio terminology, Yeah.
I'll say, "Oh, that's way too hot." Like that bass is way too hot, or the that mic is way too hot, or whatever. And it's like, no. I mean, it means it's too loud.
Yeah,
Boy, you just sweaty.
Yeah. So now you
down.
just learned an audio terminology that you can use to sound cool and be like, "Man, that guitarist is hot." They're gonna be like, I didn't think he was that hot. And be like, no, he's too loud.
People never say that.
Awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Neil, you are a really great guitar player.
Thank you.
So, yeah, with exceptional hair too.
I will say they say I'm too loud.
True.
So
They say we're very loud, and that we get complaints about it all the time.
well, you're an alternative rock band. I mean, what
Yeah.
do they expect?
Boy,
And then,
right?
and then people will hire us to be there, and then people will still be mad about it. It's like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Do
here?
you give them disclaimers? Do they know what they're signing up for?
Well, it's just like, have you been in public with a band before? Maybe like that would be
Yeah.
the answer for you.
Well, I think it's like it depends on the demographics, and it also depends on like who, and then sometimes people have sometimes a not a one-track mind, but just a not as broad of a view on like they think a band, so they just have one idea of what a band is or sounds like or
Yeah.
performs like, and they're like, oh, okay, so like every band
Well, and
is
then
like
like
that.
you have to consider the alcohol in their blood
Mhm,
has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually, like, you get the alcohol flowing, they're okay with it being louder.
True.
Not always. but-
Try
Unless
to-
they break
Have you found
bottles
it?
over our
Have you
heads.
found it has the opposite effect?
Well, I mean, like you're saying about the demographic, like depending on the person and depending
Yeah.
on if they like music in the first place, like
Mhm.
unless it's like in their ears or in their car and they're like passively listening to it.
Mhm.
Live music, I feel like if somebody's drunk and not trying to be there for the music, that's what's
yes.
you're gonna run into.
Yes, I understand. You're talking about the difference between the music being the main, the
Point of the night,
feature,
yeah.
right? The feature versus like you're just there for background noise,
Yeah.
or for
That's how people
ambiance.
try and
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's a good point. There's a big difference between hiring a band for ambiance and hiring a band for like, no, you guys are the main event. People are coming to see you.
right.
They're not here to socialize.
Yeah.
They're here to watch the
Yeah.
band.
We try to keep it dynamic so we're not just like constantly blasting the audience with loud stuff. But
True.
I think sometimes that could shock the audience even more when we do play something more loud because we just played a bunch of songs that were more low key or something.
Yeah.
It's just hard sometimes with the constant changing of what the style is, I guess. But
Mhm. And speaking of, style and sounds and everything, you guys just this past Halloween released your very first record. So
Ding, ding, ding,
congratulations
ding,
on
ding,
that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're
seriously,
welcome.
thank you.
A year in review?
Yep.
Right? I loved that it came out on Halloween.
Thank you.
And I love the album cover artwork.
Yay!
It brings back the nostalgia of if you're listening to this right now, when you get the chance, look at the album artwork for A Year in Review by Katzpa Jammas, and it's also spelled a little differently.
Mm-hmm. So with a K,
yes,
and a space between the P and the Jammas.
Yes, just so you know.
2 M's.
And yeah, 2 M's. So when you look at the artwork, you'll see it's kind of like a mock of like, I don't know. I thought like 90s music magazine, like maybe, I don't know if it was Rolling Stone you were going for or what, but
that's great to hear. Thank you. Because that's what the point, it was like, not necessarily like 90s music magazine, but it's inspired by that, along with like when I was a kid at the grocery store waiting in line, and you'd see like a magazine cover of Kim Kardashian, and it said like 10 ways to spice up the bedroom, and like
yes,
like that was a big part for me. Like I immediately when we were like thinking about the album and like this concept, I wanted that aspect of it. Then we had some contention. Not too sexual. Can't get too raunchy on the album art.
Oh, gotcha.
So I made it. I toned it down.
You toned it down. It was still entertaining.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no. So you were thinking like Cosmo and
like that, but then
what was it, Teen Vogue or what
sure, yeah.
I was trying to think of some of the other ones I remember.
Right.
All the trash magazines.
Yes, yes. It did. Oh, and the best part was never looking at the magazine, but only the cover. That's what was really fun about it, because like you can just let the mind wander and like never actually know what's going to be in the magazine.
Yeah, because sometimes when you would flip to one of those articles they've got featured on the front, it would just be like kind of disappointing. Like they'd build it up, and then you get there and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's it.
And then like you would get like a teen, like I would get like a teen one, and I'd be in it for the fashion advice, and it'd be the worst thing I've ever heard. And I'm never going to follow that.
Do you remember specifically some advice that you remember reading?
Well, like the only advice that sticks with me is the stuff that was good, which was like makeup stuff. Like YouTube videos is really what I followed more than anything. Like, well, if you're going to wear makeup in 7th grade, just keep in mind that maybe don't wear the heaviest stuff, and just like maybe for 7th grade a good look is like lip gloss and mascara. Like that's the kind of stuff that stuck with me, instead of like, you can wear, I don't know, try wearing a dress over your ugliest pair of jeans, see what happens.
Well, we all had to start somewhere,
exactly.
It's just like with your music careers. I'm sure if you think back to like the very first time you like performed in front of an audience, that always sticks with you. Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember like any significance from your first like live music performances?
I have tons. But...
yeah, same. I have tons too. Like in this band or just like in general?
I mean, I guess
as
a kid, or like when you started to like create your own art, because I feel like there's a difference between like, being in choir at school and performing in the choir versus like, hey, I'm playing in the school talent show, and like maybe you're playing a cover from like your favorite band, or maybe you're playing a song that like you wrote in front of your peers.
Yeah.
Like that's a big moment.
I would say for me, I had like this brass band in high school, like my senior year. It was kind of okay. It wasn't bad, but I wanted to be better, of course. But also, I was playing trumpet, and I wasn't a good trumpet player. I wanted to be at practice, but it never would happen. But that was really fun because I was with a group that wasn't just students doing what their class was doing for a band, concert band, but like with my friends and like picking a song that we all liked. And even though it wasn't like a perfect band, that was kind of what started for me, I feel like, getting interested in doing shows that aren't just school productions.
So this was a brass band that you put together on your own?
Yeah.
Outside of school?
Yeah, we just played at the talent show, but...
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stuff like that's something you're going to remember. Mm-hmm. And like you look back at it now, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, that was kind of embarrassing. But then like, you think about how cool it was, like that you took that initiative and you made that like that was your first step into like and like look at where you're at now. Like,
yeah, it was a good stepping stone. Even though Katzpa Jammas was like the next thing I did after that, but hey, it helps.
Yeah, you all start somewhere. How about you, Bert? Do you have any like significant memories of when you first like played in front of your peers outside of like the school music programs?
I always go back to high school. I was in a bunch of different, kind of like starting off about freshman, sophomore year. I started kind of doing the music stuff with just getting groups of buddies and trying to put a band together. I think the first one that I was in was it was called Children with Gelatinous Masses.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I could even, you'd have to tell me
just
that name.
Just a bunch of strange outcast kids standing around a plate of Jell-O.
Children with
gelatinous masses.
Oh,
yeah.
So gelatinous just means
That was-
like gelatin or like Jell-O.
Then the band became a group called Van Party.
Yeah, band party.
And then it evolved into another group called it was Amnesty. And then Amnesty went into another group called I'll Never Tell. And these were all just people moving in and out of just
But do you
different
remember
bands
like
and
the
stuff
first
like
time
that.
you like played in one of these bands?
Well,
Or like
yeah, I do,
you know.
actually. The first show I ever did and was with the Children of Gelatinous Masses was with it was at I want to say it was over by the Quality Inn at like this like Moose Creek Lodge
The
building
Moose,
there.
the old Moose Lodge.
Yeah. And we went up there, we played one song. We played what was it? Pixies.
Remember the Pixies song?
Trying to think of the names.
One good song.
It's banned by the song by the Pixies, and we were all out of tune, and it was rough.
Yay.
And
Yes.
we had
Yes.
2 people clap,
That's
and it was
punk, man.
great. It was almost reminiscent to my like first time I think ever going on stage, like to do really anything.
Mhm.
And that was awful. I was at a church open mic, and
Ooh.
That's so brave.
they were like, "Oh, you know, all these kids got up there and they were so amazing. Like their music was great. You could just hear them preaching, just speaking from the soul, and you're like." Man, I aspired to be like this. A guy before me got up there. He was playing a giant red flying V guitar, and it was just
Oh my God.
incredible.
In church?
In a church,
Hallelujah.
like a church open mic they did. It was I was
open
just
mic.
like I got up there and I got up there with my guitar and I was so nervous. The first word that came out of my mouth was the F word. And they immediately told me to leave. And I'm going to be honest with you. I went and I cried in the stairwell at that church for like 2.5 hours. It was
Oh
like, I
my
can't
God.
ever do this ever. And then after that, I was just kind of obsessed, you know?
That I don't know, for some reason that just reminds me of like, that sounds like it would be an episode of like The Simpsons or like Family Guy or something, to where, you know, like Stewie drops the F-bomb and
That little baby is always saying something out of kilter.
He's
It was
always-
that
yeah.
brutal, but
my
be like
gosh.
that.
Man, I feel so embarrassed for you.
That is
For
rough.
Man.
It was a very embarrassing moment. I still think about that.
Well, if it makes you feel better, we did cover Misery Business in a church
Oh, we
for
did,
a
yeah.
church event.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
we
I
did.
mean, like that was pretty punk rock.
Did I say the
Yeah,
W word?
because that's a pretty
I don't
wholesome
know.
song, you know?
Yeah, it's not
I
like
mean,
anyone
the-
could hear me or anything.
I think
Sure, the
people
worst
started
acoustics.
throwing stuff at us that time.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
started breaking like the chalice over our hair or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
Chalice.
Everything. Bottles. And
I still have scars.
When
Yeah.
you guys played Misery Business in a church,
Yes.
is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So they started like throwing, they just started going
They like
crazy,
picked
like
up
in
the
a.
Yeah.
altar and like scuffed it.
So was this like, was this in like a mosh pit, like they were getting into it, or was this like
Christian mosh
they
pit.
they were not liking this and they were so angry that they threw the altar? Like
I don't think they explained it to us.
They didn't explain it.
So really, it could have been a really great mosh pit, or it could have been like a mob.
Probably a mob.
Felt like a
I'll
mob.
say I've seen crazier things happen at the collab. So
True that.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
this was maybe a precursor to that. You know, the scene was just getting started.
Yeah.
People were getting more comfortable hurting each other at shows. You know.
Well, how about you, Neil? You've played so many shows. And what's the first one you can remember when you finally stepped out of like the school program atmosphere?
The first time I really started performing was probably this guy, I think his name is Tom Moore. He did like an open mic at JR's Chicken on Tuesdays.
JR's Chicken open mic? Are you kidding me?
That sounds
my grandpa Vern, he would go play at those, and then eventually him and my dad would do it, and then
is that Vern and Vern?
Yes.
Okay.
That's another band I still do.
Yes.
But so that's probably the first time I ever made any money playing gigs, because the old people there would like give me $20 every time I'd play some stupid Amazing
I'm just
Grace
having a hard time keeping my face straight thinking about people watching an open mic while eating JR's chicken.
I mean, that's how you get your start in Kankakee.
It's true.
Yes.
And I can't help but think of the late Nick Huffman from Looney Bin, because he had an obsession with JR's chicken.
Really?
And he also obviously was like a big supporter of local music. So like, I just imagine him sitting in JR's chicken, eating his chicken and watching live music. For some reason, that's what comes to
scarfing
my mind.
that stuff down.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that too.
It's a Kankakee landmark. You know, JR's chicken is.
I always had a passion for music, like since the first grade. Back in the first play thing that I did, it was like cats versus dogs, and I was a dog.
Nice.
And we sang the song called "It's Raining, Raining Cats and Dogs," and then like the whole class would meow, and the whole class would bark. It was a whole thing.
Nice.
And that was back when I went to Bradley East, which we played in the BBCHS auditorium, and that was like the first like, whoa, like the lights are really cool, and there's so many people. So like, I think that's when like I really wanted to do this, but like I kind of like rushed into it once I had the opportunity. Like once I was able to like, you know, use a car and stuff.
That's a serious stage though. And to be able to, you know, get up there and really feel it, you kind of, as they say, the bug bites you.
And it took a while until I met Neil, actually, because I met Neil via Marcius, which is this guy that used to work at King's Music, and he's moved on. He has moved on.
Shout out
to Marcius Anthony.
Yes.
And to King Music.
And to King Music. Thank you, King Music.
Thank you, King Music.
So much, Kings.
Both Marcias and King Music. Let's talk a little bit more about the album. The songs that have been released as singles. I believe Derma was first.
That was second.
It was Dewey that was first.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, kind of walk us through. You have a very interesting flavor of alternative rock, and I feel like it's one of those where you're not sure like what to expect. Like, you know, as
Neither
far as
we.
Yeah, honestly, seriously, we just like to have fun.
We just do it.
Like
it happens.
Making music.
Yeah, what's the writing process like then for this album? What was it like putting this together? Then how do you mash all of the styles?
It changed on the day, changed on the song. We did like a lot of like we're going into rehearsal and we're gonna write a song. Sometimes I would have lyrics that would be like the we're gonna write a song for these lyrics today. Other times it was like we're gonna write a song and I'm gonna create lyrics as the process happens. Like Play a Doctor Here. Marching was the first song we ever wrote, and we were in Ashbury. Actually,
Asbury. Oh,
Asbury. I get confused.
I know. I always say Ashbury too, but I think it's as
not the coffee house, but the church.
Oh, the church. Oh, okay. That's
the church.
But wait, Ashbury is the
Ashbury, yes.
Ashbury is the coffee house.
Ashbury's
in
the coffee house.
Chicago.
Yeah.
But so we wrote marching because we were like, let's write a song. And we were rehearsing there because it's closer. It's like a little closer to the rest of us than Watsika. We've since changed to Watsika, but we just came up with some crap. Like I had an idea
Wow.
for like my parents.
Theme,
Well, no, that was before that. That was a fail. But marching was like, I wanted to write kind of about like the way my parents freak out about things when you're a kid and otherwise. Like I made friends with seniors when I was a freshman, and he said to my mom, they were separated. So he texted my mom once he found out I was hanging out with seniors, was like, I'm not ready to be a grandpa. That's where the line, I'm not ready to be a grandma came from. So like all that was like basically the tipping off point. And then it was like, I have a lot of family on my mom's side from North Dakota. You know, they have that accent.
Oh, yes.
So I was like imagining like in an
Fargo.
accent, like me being like, I'm going to go to a mosh, and then be like, you're going to a marsh? Like, don't forget your earplugs.
Yeah.
Or, don't hurt yourself or something. I don't know. And then, yeah. And then there were like
Darn
marsh
tootin'.
facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
North Dakota.
North Dakota from Fargo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been
Exactly.
So, gosh. So, man, that's the first thing he said to you, your dad?
no, not the first thing. Just
Okay.
like, no.
I was just thinking, damn,
Sorry,
it's like
no.
he really has some faith in you there.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
No, it was just like, I don't know. God, it's like really complicated.
Yeah, we don't have
Let's
we
not
don't
get
have to
into
get
it. But
into
the
it.
point is, he gets worried about me. They
Yes.
get worried
Well,
about
of
you.
course.
Parents get worried about you. That's the point.
So Kaylee's right. Our songs don't always
you.
get written the same way each time. Usually it's like Kaylee comes with lyrics and maybe Jake has a drum beat idea. And then a lot of times Neil gets to work getting a chord progression made. We cast it there. And then he's like, Bert, do this awesome thing. And then Riley, do this awesome thing. And we do our own spin on it maybe. And then it becomes cool thing. So, yeah, but it's not always like that. But it's cool because we have a lot of interesting songs based on the weird ways and orders we've started making them. But, yeah.
Yay.
I mean,
wacky world.
it keeps things interesting. And, and even while you're listening to the album, and it's not the same fabricated song over and over, you know, kind of gives
Not a
listener-
formula.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
Ooh, can I see it? That's why I'm a huge fan of like both us and the Simpsons in terms of like playing in the band, because it's not like the same sort of like thing the whole entire time. And it's nice that like we're able to exercise the idea that like we don't have to be strapped down to just like one specific thing. Like we can just kind of have a song that's a little bit like more on like the funk side, and then we can have songs that are like on like punk noise rock or something. So I think that's very cool, and it makes it exciting to also. Well, it also makes it very stressful sometimes to like mix if you're like working on the album, because like,
and you're the one that's recording all this, and are you mixing it too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then also like we all have like our like personal input on like how our tone should sound, or like I send these guys like my part, and then they track their part over or something, and then I have you over. Then we work a lot on like how the vocals should sound like in this part and that part, and that helps a lot because mixing vocals is the hardest part in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's crazy, and then drums especially are just like such a oh my gosh. But aside from all that, it makes it more interesting too, and it's fresh and it's fun. So
I'll say we did a lot of experimenting during the recording process because we wrote all the songs, and it's great writing all these songs as a band. That's like so fun. But then when we started to record them, like personally, I like tried to like perfect my synth sounds, and make my playing better. But we just kind of like try to make it the best version so that we can improve every song to its full potential. And it's cool because like if you would have known the songs before the album, they were actually kind of pretty different, some of them. So the recording was a great way to improve and learn a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, especially in your first album. I mean,
yes,
that is really a big learning curve. Just on learning about yourselves as a band too, on like where you kind of want to take things in the future, you know. So, what were you gonna add, Neil?
Oh, my favorite part of the overall process, I like to wait until the track's like mostly done, and then I'm like, let's delete it.
Hey guys, I know this is like done, but
I just don't like it.
Let's get,
It just sucks.
Let's get rid of it. Let's do it all. So, are you saying that you're like the perfectionist in the band, or is it just?
Oh, I'll challenge you on that, boy.
No.
You're not like recording
I'll
over and over
111
again.
takes on what freaking solo was that?
I don't know. All of them.
All of them.
No, mostly I'm self-loathing about my own
Boo.
stuff.
Well,
Woo!
you should not be because you are an amazing player.
You really are.
Do you
That's probably
write?
why, though.
Do you actually sit down and write your guitar solos, or do you just like whip them out whenever? And they're different every time, and then you're just like, you just stick with whichever one sounds the best.
For playing live, it's always different.
Yeah.
But this album, there were some parts that were like marching. There's a part in the middle that's like a kind of a new added composed part where the guitar solo usually is, and then towards the end of it, I added a little guitar solo at the end. But so that was totally written out in the moment. Like I sort of improvised an idea, and then I kept doing it over and over again to get it perfectly right, or as close as possible. But stuff like Halfway to Sleeping or Derma, those are improvised solos. And all the songs we play live that are guitar solos, those are always improvised. And I sometimes just improvise like new stuff to do while we're playing a show, just because if we play 4 shows in Kankakee in a month, I mean, a lot of the same people are going to be there. So
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I like to try to keep it different, as much fresh.
Yeah, you got to give them a different experience every time. Which, speaking of, like, what? How do you describe Katzpa Jammas to people when they are just finding out that you're in a band? Like, how do you describe your sound to them, or like describe the style?
The first 2 words.
Alternative rock.
Yeah, you do keep it simple. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, so Nirvana, and then I'll be like, we actually do one sort of Nirvana song when we're doing covers.
I was gonna
but
say you do mix
no.
in other people's songs.
Yeah, we
into
do
your
like
set.
because we do a lot of 3-hour stuff, so
Right.
we only have an hour worth of originals, so
Right.
we do a lot of covers, and that's how we started, was as a cover band. So yeah, and then, like sometimes I'll be like, we're inspired a lot by this or whatever, but other than that, you can't really be.
Yeah.
I mean, and it'll change. The band will change every time I talk.
I
about
would
it.
add experimental, even though that sounds like the most pretentious
Right.
possible
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
That's why
we're
I won't add it.
experimental.
I've heard art rock. I've heard people call us art rock.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I'll say is we're jazz or we're like alternative alt fusion. Like that's what I call it, not jazz fusion.
Wait, that's the Simpsons.
More the Simpsons.
Now the
I would
lines
say
are
are
blurred,
the
I mean.
jazz noise fusion. We're like the alternative fusion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard pop jazz
Okay.
about us.
It's just
It does have
stuff,
jazz
so.
influence a lot.
Yeah. I can
People
hear
are like,
pop
it's
definitely.
definitely pop, and I'm like,
Mhm.
well,
It-
okay,
It,
yeah.
So
the
how
heck
do
am
you
I seeing
present
through
this
this
then
space?
in a live show? Like people that have not seen you guys live before. What is a live show like?
we sit down. Oh, wait, here, hang on. Oh, no. I take a seat, it's like, oh, it's almost time. And then we're just like, are you guys ready? And then
3,
I'm just
2,
like, okay.
1.
1, 2,
It's a lot
3.
like a middle school band concert in that way.
Yeah, wait, we have a conductor.
Yeah.
No,
Groupies
really?
everywhere.
I can't explain
We kind of
it.
just like walk in, set up, and then people will come up and maybe start asking questions, and then it's like kind of chill, and then we kind of just like present the music as it is, and like there's not a lot of like production, like we're not like trying really hard to like look like something, you know.
Yeah.
We just try and play, and then we'll have like some decorations sometimes, but
Gotta have decorations.
Right.
That's important.
I'll
we have one of those
say-
lights
Oh,
up
One of
globe.
Oh, the globe. Okay. I was trying to figure out what. Yeah, that makes sense.
The way our songs are written as like a band is perfect for live shows because we like play it in the room together, and it's nice because we don't have to bring all this extra stuff. I like to keep my stuff simple, and we all just like the recordings are basically what we do live. We didn't add so much crazy stuff, and it makes it easy, but it's also cool because it's just easy. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's unique, but
It sounds cool.
yeah, it sounds cool. It sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
I would say like we got like a nice variety of like covers and now originals kind of in the mix, and like I can see us eventually pushing for doing a lot more covers like kind of later on down the road. I would say in live performance setting, a lot of times you're just getting a nice variety of like a bunch of awesome covers that you heard over the years, like 4th and 5th picks, not some of the more common ones that you hear, and then done in a very fresh kind of new way, where we all kind of contribute a lot of our own sounds to it.
What are some of those covers then?
Well,
Kaylee.
if you come on December 14th, you'll hear us play Frosty the Snowman and some other
Sweet.
Christmas
I was gonna say, we got to
hits.
play some Christmas.
Yeah, that's what we're
songs,
supposed to do today.
Oh, okay.
Did you learn them? Probably not.
Probably not.
That's
probably
right.
not.
So after this, you guys are going to go rehearse.
Yes.
So so we're going to see if you learn Frosty the Snowman.
Well,
and-
it'll probably happen. Like, it's not. It'll be okay. Yeah, that too.
We did. Oh, we did like write a Christmas song a little bit.
Yeah, but let's keep that under
Yeah,
wraps.
yeah. Let's
Get it?
let's get on with
I
it.
don't wanna
Yeah.
give all the details out on that.
Yeah.
Like some of the other covers though, like what is like a fan favorite cover that you guys do where you can just you take that original song apart and you really make it your own?
Okay, well, one that we like changed that people like of ours, I'll say boots. We do these boots are made for walking.
Yep.
And we do like, what's a good word to say? Okay.
Deconstructed.
Yeah, we like turn it into something very chaotic.
We do
Depending on
heavy,
the,
like
it sometimes it kind of depends where we play. If it's at a bar, it's a little bit like less. Well, sometimes we can still get like intense, but like if it's at like a punk venue like the Ashbury Coffee House, I'm not afraid.
Never know
I guess we're not
what's
afraid
gonna
to
happen
just,
at those
yeah,
kind of
to just
shows.
make noise.
That's true.
Make it insane as much as possible. But yeah.
I never know what's gonna happen, really. That's for real.
it happened last time at OTR. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's a question. Bringing that up, you guys are kind of versatile. Where I feel like there's a lot of times where, you either have bands that are doing the 21 plus scene, or you've got bands that are doing the 21 and under scene. But you guys are doing both, and so I got to know, like, is there one you prefer over the other, or is it just kind of depending on the day? Like, I'm sure there's got to be pros and cons.
well, one of
So,
them
like,
pays better.
One of them pays better, and that's right. That's the thing. The 21 plus shows pay better
Yeah.
because
Pay at all.
you're playing bars and things like that, and they can usually afford to give you some money. Where all ages shows, it's like maybe you'll get $50, $100,
Yeah,
maybe,
tickets.
but you might not get anything.
But I feel like like the best shows that we've done are the ones that either don't pay or like they they pay some like with however they make at the door or something. But
merch.
Oh yeah, merch for
like
sure.
All ages shows, those kind of crowds tend to buy whatever you have to sell. So they like to support the bands as much as they can.
The most memorable ones are like those kind of shows where people are just there to hear the music, and that's what they're there for. And it's really cool because those ones have a lot of people that are our age or younger, like local high school kids. It's really fun seeing those kind of people enjoy music. It's inspiring. But I do appreciate the bar shows and all, but mainly the covers we learn for them, because I feel like I learned keyboard from playing covers, even though it's like, oh, this isn't the coolest cover. Like, I Will Always Love You. I kind of hate that song. But songs like that are good for me personally because, like, I learned so much.
Yeah, you're learning someone else's style, and then maybe you can borrow something from that style.
I feel like that's what we learned from concert band, by the way.
That too. But I'm learning keyboard. I'm new at this.
Yeah.
It's my first time.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to play trombone.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you always could do both.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
That'll be up to you.
Like,
what do you think? Do you want to learn both?
You know, you could always switch it out.
I think playing trombone and Katzpa Jammas, it has time, and it's really, really done for. It's gone. It won't happen. Stop asking me.
One day.
I'm not going to a show unless you play trombone.
Oh,
okay, I guess I will.
Kaylee, do you have a preference on all ages shows versus 21 plus? I'm just really curious to hear.
My family's gonna be at the 21 plus ones. They like to drink and listen to us and have fun. That's a lot of fun. But the under 21 shows have like a different feel. Like, I don't have a preference. It's just like one. I'm expecting different things when I walk into one versus the other, and I'm having a different kind of fun at each, you know?
And what's the easiest way to like explain? Because I think sometimes it's hard for people to grasp like the concept and just the feeling of an all ages show or scene versus the 21 plus. So,
well, it's like performing to a crowd of musicians. Like, it just has like a bunch of people who are paying attention to the things you're paying attention to and like appreciate the things you might be appreciating. It's always more like, it's always not more cool.
Well, they're going to appreciate your art more, it seems like, right?
They'll have like a similar lens that you do. Like, it's like a deeper understanding than like a bar show will have.
Because like, bar show, you've got, oh my gosh, you got a plethora of people, different types of people. Yeah. Not that you don't at an all ages show, but I guess I always think of like, there's always at least one guy, maybe more people that are just like, they just want to hear Freebird or whatever, the world it is. And they don't give two craps about these songs that you wrote.
Oh, wait.
We do have some good covers for those kind of people, though.
Sure. And nothing against those people at all, by the way. I'm just trying to explain the difference between these two scenes. Yeah. Just trying to explain the differences between the two scenes. So,
because like there's a lot of songs that you want to play that are like, no one really like knows what this song is in like the mass or in the vast amount of people out there that come to these shows, but like we still make them our own, and some people think they're our own songs, which is kind of interesting. But we do have the hits like Separate Ways, Before He Cheats,
I Will Always Love You,
I Will Always Love You,
You're No Good is a hit by Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah,
that's a fun one too.
That's a favorite from the audience for sure.
For me at least.
Uncontrollable Urge by
Devo.
That's a very eclectic mix you guys have going on.
Yeah, that's what we go for.
Going on here.
Good job, Kaylee, on choosing this.
I've picked a lot of the.
Well, I think people listening to this will get a really good idea for what they can expect. If they go to the show December 14th, or if it's even after that. You guys have other shows coming up as well. I know Winter Song was just announced as well for January 11th. That's here at the Majestic too.
Yay.
If you can't make it Saturday, we'll be in Moments on Friday at Sluggers, right?
Sluggers.
Cool.
Sluggers.
Then the 21st, we're at Breakaway. That'll be another Christmas show if you're in the spirit of the holidays.
Mhm.
Obviously, people can find a year in review anywhere where people stream music. Are you guys selling physical copies?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have them in my
yeah.
car right
Okay.
now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you have vinyl or is it CDs?
Just
Not
CDs.
yet.
And they
Okay.
have a prize inside.
Yeah, and like
Ooh.
a nice link that you can follow.
Oh, we like links that people can follow.
True.
Yeah.
A QR
If
code
you
you
guys
can
like
scan.
vinyl, we might have that coming soon.
Hmm.
I didn't
Somewhere
even
down
know.
the line.
We have
Made to order, maybe.
Well,
We
I
do.
definitely
There's
encourage
secrets.
everyone listening to study that album before they come out to a show,
Wow.
and that way they'll be familiar with the originals that you guys put together.
Or listen after you hear us, maybe.
Both.
That's always fun.
And it'll be
both.
like, what? That's what they're saying?
Yeah.
What
sure.
the
Like,
frick?
oh, I can make it out now. Yeah, I can make out what they're saying.
Dang, they suck even more.
No.
I can really hear it.
No.
So Kaylee, Jake, Riley, Bert, Neil, Katzpa Jammas. Anything else you want to add?
Thank you so much for having us.
Seriously,
No.
I really,
Yeah.
this was actually fun as frick because we've done some interviews that,
Not as long form.
and
This
we're
was
not
a lot
as
of fun.
comfortable, I guess, too. Like, I used to ramble much more, but
Yeah.
now.
That's
We were on
okay.
the radio one time.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Rambler.
radio.
Thank you guys so much for doing this, and I hope we
Thank you.
hope we can do it again. Like anytime you got something new that's coming out, please come back.
Okay.
Love to
That
talk
would be
about it.
awesome.
So,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying thank you.
yeah, you're
Um,
welcome.
I'm actually standing up.
I'm actually standing up. Are you going to say something?
Curse the trolls and peace everybody else.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Curse the trolls.
You got that right.
Oh, I love it.
The movie, probably.
That concludes this episode of Kankakee Podcast. I'm Jake LaMore. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Kankakee Podcast. Shout out to Stephanie Vanderweide for supporting the show each month through Patreon. If you want your name announced on a future episode, you can sign up at patreon.com/Kankakee Podcast. Special thanks to our sponsors, Chicago Dough Company, Noble Dairy Queen Stores, Frank's Appliance Center and Sleep Source, Pigosh Engineering, King Music, Little Me Studio, Taco John's, D. Westfall Jewelers, and Edward Jones Financial Advisor Adam Elroy. Kankakee Podcast is produced by the fine team at Pathfinder, a full-service marketing agency in downtown Kankakee. Learn more at yourpathfinder.io. Our theme song is by Lupe Carroll.
This river can